Chapter 4. An Unexpected Gift. "Let me go in first, Rarity, just to see if he's okay." Rarity simply nodded and watched as Twilight quietly slipped through the door. Rarity knew that she should have just sat there and waited, but she couldn't resist the temptation to press her ear against the door and listen in on Twilight's conversation with Spike. "I'm sorry, Twilight," she said to herself. "Hey, Spike, how are you doing?" she said to the purple stallion sitting on her old bed. "Oh, hi, Twilight. I'm okay, I guess, except for being stuck in here." "Where's Rarity?" he asked. "Piggy said you and her would come up together." The purple unicorn smiled a bit when she heard the concern in his voice. "I'm glad to see you're not mad at her anymore," she said. "Rarity's waiting outside. I wanted to talk to you alone for a moment." Spike saw his friend, the unicorn that raised him, fidgeting and looking anywhere but directly at him. "Twilight, what's wrong?" "Remember 2 years ago when you asked me about your parents?" she asked. "I wasn't really serious, Twilight. You're all the family I need. You know that." "Yes, I know, but I looked anyway. Princess Cadence was working on a project in the Dragon Kingdom at the time, and agreed to help me. She used her diplomatic influence and contacted every dragon dignitary she knew. Spike, we found your parents." Twilight was starting to tear up. "We started getting scattered reports, but we weren't able to confirm anything until 6 months ago." "You've known something for 6 months, and you didn't tell me?" he asked, his voice getting louder. "I'm sorry, Spike. I didn't know what to tell you then, and in a way, I still don't, but with everything that's been going on—" "Where are my parents, Twilight?" he asked coldly. "I'm sorry, Spike, but they're gone. From what Cadence and I could find out, shortly after your egg was laid, your parents were ambushed by a rival clan." "So what? They're dead?" "If a rival clan killed my parents, how did I survive?" "Why didn't they kill me, too?" "Emerald Swifttalon, your older sister, she took your egg and escaped to Equestria. Apparently, she knew through your parents that Princess Celestia was known to house several orphaned dragon eggs here at the palace. She left your egg here, hoping you'd be okay." "I have an older sister?" he asked, his voice more calm. "Yes, you do. Other than you, she's the only memory of your family and your clan to survive. She was going to come visit you on your next birthday. She and I were going to tell you everything then." "Why did you wait so long, Twilight?" "You should have told me as soon as you found out," Spike shouted. "I'm sorry, Spike. I couldn't," Twilight stammered. "Why? What was so important you thought you had to keep that from me?" Twilight hugged him suddenly. "I didn't want you to leave me," she sobbed into his shoulder. "I was afraid that if I told you right away, you'd want to leave and be with your real family. That's why I arranged things with your sister to visit us. If she was here, then you wouldn't have to leave." Spike was shocked for a moment, then wrapped his hooves around Twilight and hugged her tightly. "I'd never leave, Twilight. I'm curious about my relatives, but Ponyville is my home, and you are my family. I've always thought of you as my big sister. Nothing would change that. I guess I just have 2 big sisters now." "You really mean that?" she asked, wiping the tears from her eyes. "You bet." "I wonder what Shining Armor will say about having a dragon as a little brother. He's always wanted one. A little brother, I mean," she said with a smile. "Hey, Twilight, I'm sorry I shouted earlier. I don't know why I've been getting so angry so easily recently. I can't help it," Spike admitted. "That's part of the curse. Your emotions are exaggerated greatly. Please, even though things may make you mad or sad, try to take it easy, okay?" "Sure, big sis," Spike said, hugging Twilight tightly. "Thanks, Spike. Your sister is going to be here in time for your birthday, so we can talk more about it then. Rarity is waiting outside, and I want to give you 2 time to talk alone before it gets too late, okay?" Sure," he said, a bit hesitantly. Twilight could see him start to sweat. "Hey, it's going to be okay. Just take it slow and try to keep calm. And smile. I'm going to go get her. Little brother, just stay calm and don't jump to conclusions." Twilight walked out of the room to find Rarity sitting on the landing, trying to look innocent. Twilight shut the door behind her. "You were listening, weren't you?" "Yes," she admitted shamefully. "I couldn't help it. and wanted to know how he was doing. Twilight smiled and shook her head. You two are so made for each other. What do you mean by that, Twilight? Rarity asked her. The purple unicorn didn't respond. She simply walked down the stairs, leaving her outside Spike's door. Rarity cautiously walked into the room. Good evening, Spike. How are you tonight? She asked, a little concerned. I'm tired, Rarity, he said flatly. Oh, I'm sorry to have bothered you. I just wanted to say something, and then I'll let you rest. That's not what I mean. I'm tired of everything. I'm tired of always being on the short end of the stick. I'm tired of trying my best and having nothing to show for it. I'm tired of living a life full of far too much rain and not enough sun, he said, his head hanging down. Spike, please stop. Don't speak that way, Rarity said. You are appreciated. You are valued for who you are. Am I? He asked. Seems to me the only time you wanted me around was so you wouldn't have to break a sweat when chores had to be done, Spike said, his voice rising slightly towards the end. Rarity searched herself for the words she knew had to be said. Spike, I want to apologize for the hurtful things I said. It wasn't fair. Spike looked up, staring at her with his penetrating green eyes. Are you saying this because you really mean it? Are you apologizing me because, while I look like this, I'm closer to your class of pony? Had he been capable, Spike would have been breathing fire. I mean, I wouldn't want you to have to be seen with some love-sick reptile following you around everywhere. Having her own words thrown back in her face cut Rarity to the core. Softly at first, she began to cry. I'm sorry, Spike. My words were thoughtless, and I know now how they hurt you. I don't know if I can ever make it up to you, or if you can ever forgive me. Rarity's eyes were closed tight, but the tears still poured down her face. I understand if you don't want to see me ever again, but I want you to know how truly sorry I am. Spike embraced her in a hug. Rarity's eyes snapped open, and she looked into Spike's eyes. Even though he was smiling, Rarity noticed the streak of tears that traced a line down his cheeks. I forgive you. Spike rubbed his cheek against hers. It's okay, Rarity. I talked a lot of this through with our friends and Princess Luna. The princess assured me that what you said was not truly intended to hurt me, and the girls told me things I didn't know about you. That put a lot of this in perspective. After everything, I guess I just needed to hear it from you. Thank you, Spike. I promise I'll find a way to make it up to you. I'm not going to rest until I've earned your trust back. Rarity thought for a moment, when an idea crossed her mind. Spike, how would you like to get out of this room for a while? You've been cooped up in here for nearly 2 days. Can you do that? He asked. Darling, I am Rarity Filigree. I can do anything, especially if you're with me, she said, blushing slightly. The two ponies walked down the stairs, but as Spike expected, the guard at the bottom of the stairs barred their progress. I'm sorry, but we are under orders not to let Spike out of the tower. He is to remain there until the princesses deem it safe. Why, of course. I wouldn't dream of preventing either of you from performing your duties. However, I must inform you that we are favored amongst their majesties, and, point of fact, we are on our way to see them this very moment. Now, we could stand about talking about this for the rest of the evening, or you could possibly escort us to the throne room so we may speak with them, Rarity said. I don't know, Gust. What do you think? The Unicorn Stallion asked. Well, we were ordered to keep an eye on him. The sergeant didn't say where. I don't see the harm, especially if they want to speak with the princesses. In that case, walk between us. Don't fall behind, and don't trot ahead. Of course, sir. Lead on, Rarity said. Outside the palace, a royal page quietly exited the palace grounds. Unicorn Colt was white in color, with a fiery red mane and tail. He made his way to the back alley that ran behind Pony Joe's donut shop. He jumped with fright as a voice sounded out of the dark shadows. Were you followed? No, sir, I wasn't. I'm sure of it, the young stallion assured him. Well, it's just as you said, sir. The white unicorn is in the palace, and I've heard the princess talking about her and one other pony by the name of Spike, but I didn't get a look at him. According to the other pages and scribes, it seems that Rarity and Spike are the only thing they've been talking about. Even Fancy Pants was called to the palace on this matter, though I was not able to find out what they were talking about. That's fine, that's fine. I have the information I need. You did well, Red. As for our bargain, I will ensure your appointment to the Royal Academy. You have a bright future ahead of you. I'd hate to think anything could jeopardize that rosy future. You know, such as the particulars of our bargain and our recent discussion slipping out. Sir, I would never, the royal page said. I know you wouldn't. You're a smart boy. Now run along back to the palace before you're missed. Yes, sir. The page galloped off. The tall white unicorn walked out of the shadows, his blue eyes sparkling in the light of the street lamp, his blonde mane and tail fluttering in the light breeze. Before this night is over, Rarity will be mine, and I, Prince Blueblood, will be elevated to where I belong. Back at the palace, Rarity and Spike were talking with the princesses alone. Do you think there will be enough time? Rarity asked Princess Luna. Yes, but remember, you have till sunrise, Luna told her. I do not think it would be wise to have him revert back to a dragon public. We do not want to cause a panic. Spike, I want you to take it easily as well, Princess Celestia told him. You've been changing back and forth for 2 days, and I'm afraid it may have left you a little weak. I understand, Your Majesty. We're just going for a walk, but I promise I will do my best not to overexert myself. Thank you, Princess. That will be more than enough time, Rarity proclaimed. Grabbing Spike, she flew out the door with him, into the night air of Canterlot. Walking through the roads of Canterlot, Rarity looked deep into Spike's eyes, blushing slightly. Spike, you once offered to show all of us around Canterlot. Could you take me on that tour now, maybe? Spike smiled. Sure, Rarity. Spike started by taking Rarity around to all the best dress shops, showing her the fashions of the city, which included taking her to Hoity-Toity's shop. At the moment, that particular shop was displaying several of Rarity's dresses in all their glory. Spike couldn't help but smile at Rarity, staring at her sparkling dresses lit up in the lights. Rarity nuzzled close to Spike. Thank you, Spike. I rarely get to see how my fashions are displayed once the clients pick them up. No problem, Rarity. I know how important your work is to you. Well, 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 what do we have here? Really, Rarity, I'm surprised you would allow yourself to be seen in public with such a substandard colt. Rarity and Spike looked in between 2 buildings. From out of the shadows came a white stallion unicorn with a wavy blonde mane and tail, and glistening blue eyes. The 2 ponies felt anger surge through them. Prince Blueblood, what are you doing here? She asked him, shocked by his sudden appearance. I happened to be in the neighborhood, and I noticed you walking around with this loser. Look at him, he doesn't even have a cutie mark yet. I can only assume this is a pity date, or you lost a bet, but I'm now here to take you away from all of this. Hey, what the heck do you mean by that? I'm no loser, Spike shouted at him. Please, child, adults are talking. Do be a good colt and take your blank flank elsewhere. Come, Rarity, you and I have much to discuss. Why, you pompous, overstuffed, pathetic excuse for a pony. What makes you think I have any intention of going anywhere with you? Rarity said, glaring at him. Prince Blueblood smacked Rarity with the back of his hoof, knocking her to the ground. The white unicorn stallion shouted at her over her tears. Who do you think you are to speak to me in such a manner? I'm not the same prince I was 4 years ago, he growled at her. I will not be spoken to like that by any pony. Get away from her, you son of a bitch, Spike shouted. Blueblood had only enough time to swing his head around when Spike's shoulder connected with the right side of his chest, knocking him to the ground next to Rarity. Spike put a hoof under her and helped her to her hooves. Come on, Rarity, let's get out of here. You think this is over? Blueblood said, slowly regaining his posture. Spike quickly placed Rarity behind him to protect her from the arrogant prince.